The issue of busing still dominates this first week of the new school year. Although the argument spans the nation, there was only one violent incident reported today. That was in Columbus, Georgia, where firebombs destroyed 2 classrooms. The governor of Georgia, Jimmy Carter, charged today that busing has completely disrupted the schools of 3 major cities in his state, and he called on parents to speak out in protest and put pressure on the courts to change their rulings. And in Alabama, Governor George Wallace went one step further today. The Alabama House passed a bill designed to outlaw busing, and Wallace urged parents to report to him any cases in which children's health or safety are endangered. At a news conference, the governor prodded Chief Justice Warren Burger for his stand on schools.
It's good to see a concession on the part of the Chief Justice that racial balance was not required. And yet nearly every lower court in the United States dealing in this question has called for racial balance. That has happened, whether they called it or not, in Mobile, in Birmingham, in Charlotte, in Richmond, wherever, Corpus Christi, Austin, you name it, and that's what the lower court judges have called for. So the purpose of this press conference is to follow up and ask Mr. Berger, and I think we may dispatch a telegram to him to ask him to clarify further to the lower courts. We have an old saying in Alabama I've used many times, put the hay down where the goats can get it. I would like for the Chief Justice to put the hay down where his lower court goats could get it.
Public schools in Mobile held open house today to allow both black and white parents whose children will be bused to new schools to see the facilities and get acquainted ahead of time. Mobile has often seemed to symbolize hardline opposition to desegregation, but community leaders say concern for the city and its children has produced a change. The school board and NAACP reached a compromise on implementing court-ordered desegregation, and most parents seem willing to go along.
I don't mind it too much. I'm against busing, the overall principle of it. But things could have been a lot worse. We're not happy with it, but for the sake of our children, I hope we'll all try to work it out.
How do you feel about the efforts of Governor Wallace to intervene in school openings?
If George will make up his mind to let the school system in Mobile go as it's set up now, I think we as citizens, black and white, can make it work.
Significantly, Mobile's business leadership is openly supporting the integration plan.
We have the people behind the school board, and we feel that for the first time in several years now, that we have gotten back into the education business, and we're trying for quality education for our children.
One civic group here in Mobile has put out these little buttons, half black, half white, saying, "Make it work." And school officials here believe their plan can and will work with community and parent support if Mobile is left alone. Steve Bell, ABC News, Mobile, Alabama.
In Virginia, a federal appeals court today ordered the Norfolk school system to begin a program of massive busing next Tuesday. The school board says the deadline cannot be met and the schools will be closed pending an appeal. The people of Norfolk have joined in this debate with increasing emotion, as ABC's Bill Zimmerman reports.
Is Norfolk here tonight?
It was reminiscent of a George Wallace rally with the same heroes, the common people, and the same villains, the courts and politicians generally. And the subject was one that is close to the Alabama governor's heart, what is known here as the tyranny of the courts, the forced busing of children against the will of their parents. 1,500 anti-bussers came to this rally, sponsored by an organization called Save Our Neighborhood Schools.
The transporting of any child far away from the school in his neighborhood against the wishes of his parents is purely a crime against humanity and must be stopped immediately.
The Sons organization does not counsel standing in the schoolhouse door, but its tactics are not designed to facilitate the opening of Norfolk schools. According to Sons, when the schools do open, parents should take their children to their old neighborhood schools in defiance of busing orders. When admission is denied, the children should be taken home and kept there.
I wonder what kind of an example we are setting for our
children in letting them get the idea that the way that adults solve their difficulties is by breaking the law and disrupting ordinary processes of government.
Compounding the problem, which local officials now say they can't solve by Tuesday, is the president's wage price freeze. The local bus company has said it would need increased fares to carry out massive busing, and a fare increase now would be illegal. Bill Zimmerman, ABC News, Norfolk, Virginia.